Should be streaming on live on Twitch and YouTube right now. Okay, so I wanted to record a very quick live stream, which I will stop after I'm done, so probably only about 10 minutes long. Just to go over some options that you have if you're having any kind of Fortnite crashes, Fortnite stuttering, lots of lag, and you want to try and rule stuff out. So these might help, but these might also help you diagnose where the problems are. So I'm going to go over two scripts that I've put, two free scripts that I've put on my website. And so all you have to do to run these is to basically right-click your start button on the taskbar, select Terminal Admin. It might say something else. Yes to that, and then copy and paste one of these commands. What should we start with first? Let's start with the ping one first, because this is quite useful for working out what your actual ping is to Fortnite, because Fortnite actually has multiple server addresses per region. So when you try and connect to one region, you're not just connecting to one place, you're connecting to multiple places. So working out whether you've got packet loss, whether the ping goes up and down a lot, which is known as jitter if it's changing a lot, can help you diagnose whether your problem is your local network, your internet service provider network, or Fortnite network. So Fortnite servers run on Amazon Web Servers, and there are various Amazon Web Server data centers around the planet. So if I just choose a region here, so all I've done is I've started a terminal admin, pasted that command in there, and then hit enter. So then it will run the script. So it gives you a choice of what region you want to run. So I'm Europe, so I'm UK. So I'm just gonna do number 4 and run Europe. So what this will do is it will tell you what your DNS servers, I'm using Quad 9 DNS servers at the moment, it'll show you some basic TCP settings that you're using, and then it will ping Cloudflare with TCP just to kind of give a base indicator of whether you've potentially got some network troubles, if you've got really high jitter, if that's really high, or if this is really high, then this will give you kind of an idea of maybe you've got a general internet issue or not. Then what it does is it pings the relevant region that we selected, the ping server for that region, and it does a DNS lookup. So as I was mentioning, one region ping server is actually more than one IP address. It's more than one server. So when you resolve that name into IP addresses, for Europe at least, it comes up with 12 different ones, all of these guys. So then what I do is I ping each one of those individually 10 times, and I look for whether there's a big variation, how much it goes up and down the jitter, and whether there's any packet loss. So it's doing that at the moment. As you can see, that Paris server and that Frankfurt server have quite a lot of jitter there. I'd say anything over 1 you might want to look into, especially if you've got any kind of packet loss. If you've got any kind of packet loss at all, the best thing to do with this information is then put it into something called Ping Plotter. If you do a Google for Ping Plotter and look for the free version, you can take the IP address of one of these ones that doesn't look right, with high jitter or packet loss, take the IP and then ping it repeatedly pings it for about 10 minutes, and it will show you the route you're taking across the internet, and it will show you whether there's any hops in that route that have packet loss or high jitter, or whether the packet loss is all coming from the final destination, i.e. the server. And then what you can do is you can screenshot all of that, send it to your internet service provider and say, look, can you help with this? I'm getting a load of packet loss, or I'm getting a really bad route. Could you help me with a better route? So this ping utility is really, really useful for kind of working out whether it's you or it's the server that's having problems. So in my case here, if I'd set my game to point to Europe, I could be put on any one of these servers between each games. So I mean, my local London ones are 3.6. I could be put on German Frankfurt ones, 17.3. From one game to the next. I don't know whether it's random or whether it's specific. It's trying to matchmake you on somebody with your similar skill-based matchmaking on specific servers. I don't know. But it could be absolutely any of these that you get put on. And the ping setting that you have when you open Fortnite and you look in the settings tab, that could be any one of these as well. So sometimes you might see really high ping because the Frankfurt one could be top of the list here. So it's basically just pinging, the game is just pinging the first one on the list. And these rotate once every minute or so. So yeah, so that's why your ping can go up and down in game. Like one day you could say, oh, I've got 3 milliseconds, and the next day it's like 17, and you're like, well, what happened? What broke? And it's nothing broke. You're just, the first one on the list is the one that the game has pinged, and it happens to be in a different location, further away location or a closer location. So anyway, really useful tool this for, you can run it multiple times, run it over and over again. If I want to look at Middle East, for example, it will then go and this one only resolves to 4 different servers. But even within those 4 different servers, then I think they're pretty much all in the same location on Middle East. The other issue you've got at the moment is NA West and NA East seem to all be directing straight into NA Central. They seem to be Epic seem to deliberately redirected everyone into Central. I'm assuming it's because the numbers are down in both West and East, so they've kind of combined everyone. That can obviously cause more issues, higher ping, more jitter, because you're then probably taking a longer route to get where you want to go, to get to the servers. So for example, so in this example, look, my jitter's quite low, it's 0.6, 0.4, so that's good. Average 87 for those 2 servers, 92 and 90. So at the moment, Middle East for me looks quite consistent, much more consistent than Europe was for me. And no packet loss, no jitter. So if anything, I'd probably get a better gaming experience playing on Middle East right now than I would do my local Europe, which is crazy. So yeah, so hopefully that's a useful tool for you. It cuts through all the nonsense of having to guess from the ping in game what's actually going on. This just goes and has a look what's going on. And then you can use that information accordingly. Try and work out if you've got a problem or not, and if you've got a problem, then what to do with it. Right, so that's the ping one. So as I say, you can run this from anywhere in the world. All you need to do is right click, terminal admin, yes on that, and then paste in that command, and press enter. And then you can ping whatever region you want. If I did East or something, it'll start pinging East. The East has like got eight IP addresses, but I say I don't think any of those IP addresses are actually being used right now. I think it's all being redirected into Central for North America. But yeah, I'll go through and do some diagnosis for you. So that's a useful tool that I've put on the server. Right. So the other tool is if you're getting like FPS big stuttering, or you're getting crashes. One thing I often do to kind of rule everything out for shader cache conflicts and temp files shouldn't be where they should be is to basically just reset all your caches. So I've written a script, put it on my server, and again, you can run this from absolutely anywhere. And what it does is it goes and cleans out all that temporary cache data. So it'll clean out your NVIDIA cache, it'll clean out the FortniteGame folder, reset that, it'll clean out Epic Games Launcher caches. So a lot of the stuff that Epic themselves tell you to do, but in a not very comprehensive way, I've automated so you don't have to think about it. You just run the script and away you go. So we'll do that. We'll do that right now. So on here, I've got a Fortnite game folder under local app data. Yeah. So what this script does is it renames that and just calls it an old one. And then obviously they're missing once it renames it. But when you start Fortnite up, it creates a brand new fresh Fortnite game folder, which has all new config in it, all new, gets rid of any caching conflict issues. So the only problem with that is it resets your display settings in Fortnite. The display tab in Fortnite settings all gets reset. So you need to spend, after you run this script, you need to spend a couple of minutes just putting back what you had before. So I take a note what you've got now in the display settings, and then you can reapply it. Or in my script, I've actually given you some suggested settings, and we'll go through those as well, which I normally help people set up. So we can go through that too. So let's run this. So at the moment, yeah, so I've got a Fortnite game folder here. So what it's going to do is it's going to reset that. It's going to clean out all the cache. So again, right click, start button, terminal admin, yes to that, and then paste that in. Fortnite reset, PS1, yeah, and press enter. So this goes away and runs it all, and it's all done. So let's check what it's done. So it's checked for running processes and killed them. So any Fortnite processes, Epic Games Launcher processes, anything associated with Fortnite, it's killed the processes first to make sure they're stopped. Then it goes and renames that Fortnite game folder that I was mentioning. So if we refresh this, look, it's now renamed it. So you can see there's no Fortnite game folder here anymore. It's just renamed the old one. Yeah. And then it clears some Epic Launcher caches. It clears the NVIDIA shader caches. Now, don't worry if it can't remove all the NVIDIA shader cache. So it normally leaves about, I don't know, 7 or 8 in here. That's fine. It's the big one that's associated with Fortnite that needs to be deleted. So if it leaves a few in here, no problem. Okay, as long as it's not a really, really huge one that's locked by Fortnite. So that's then reset the Fortnite, the NVIDIA shader cache. It's done that one, and then it gives you some recommendations at the end. So as I say, when we now start Fortnite up, it will create a brand new Fortnite game folder, and then you just have to set up the graphic settings again, and you should be good to go. So these are my recommended steps to get everything back to like performance mode. So whatever you normally have, just kind of repeat that. So let's start Fortnite back up, and then we'll reset the graphics options, and then you should be good to go. And then hopefully that will have helped with any stuttering, crashing. Obviously, there are some core Fortnite code issues right now that that Epic have admitted to that are causing crashes. So just bear in mind that my scripts can't fix Fortnite code, unfortunately, but they can certainly rule out a lot of other problems. So I normally decline it where it asks you to do the best settings for your system. It'll typically just set everything as epic otherwise. All right. So we need to go into settings. This is the only tab really that is mostly reset. Don't worry about your bindings, your anything else. They're all still there. They're all held server side. So resetting that Fortnite game folder shouldn't have reset anything over here at all. It's all pretty much just the display options. So these are my normal recommended settings for setting up Fortnite for lowest latency and highest FPS. Ready? So you want full screen on, you want your native resolution of your monitor, which is normally the highest one that's available. You do not want VSync on, that adds tons of latency. Frame rate limit you can set to typically whatever your monitor display hertz rate is, but given I'm limiting in RTSS on this PC, I set this to unlimited because you don't want two frame rate limiters running at the same time. Rendering mode, choose whichever one you want. I know some of you are still on legacy performance, but DX12 performance I found works great for me and much better for lows for me as well. You can normally skip the graphic stuff. That's normally server side, I believe, that bit, I think. This is the important one, quality presets. So set that to low to begin with. That actually configures two extra settings that aren't even available via this interface. Sets them to low, so that are available in the configuration file but not in the UI. So sending them to low puts those ones to low to begin with. So start with quality presets low. Next one to turn off is the anti-aliasing. Set that to off, and then set the 3D resolution to 100%. And then you scroll down a bit. You can go a bit higher on textures and view distance if you wish. View distance will have, the higher you go on view distance, the more FPS will drop. But it's quite useful to be able to see floor loot as you're landing on it. So I typically personally go with medium for view distance. If you're on full DX11, DX12, then your that is actually going to change grass, whether it's flat or whether it's actually shown. So if you're running full DX12 or full DX11, I think actually it'd be only full DX12, but set that to near. Otherwise you're going to have full height grass, which is a nightmare for zero builds when you're trying to see over peaks of hills. So you don't have much choice in there if you're doing full DX12. But yeah, because I'm running performance mode, medium to epic is fine, but I normally go medium. Textures, you can bump that up a little bit if you want, but in performance mode doesn't really make a lot of difference. You're mostly moving work from the CPU over to the GPU for that one, so but visually I don't think it really makes much difference in performance mode, so I normally just leave that as low. Put FPS on if you don't have an FPS counter like I do. And the other important one is NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency. Stick that on plus boost. That reduces your PC latency by 1/3. So you want to be doing that. Definitely want to be doing that. Anyone that tells you otherwise hasn't tested PC latency properly. So on plus boost, please. Latency markers, never turn that on unless you're actually testing end-to-end latency. That will drop your FPS by 1/3. So be very careful with that one. Make sure you don't accidentally put that one on instead of that one or something. So leave that off unless you're testing end-to-end latency. And that's it for that tab. I normally do a couple of other things as well that get reset. In the game tab, right down at the bottom, there's some energy saving things. I normally put that never, off, and at the moment, there's an issue with replays. If you go and watch a replay, it'll crash your game. So I've actually just turned replays recordings off right now. I obviously need replays for when I do my benchmarking, so I hope Epic fix that quickly. Right, so I think that's it. So yeah, I think that's it. So nothing else should have changed. So it should just be reset this, a couple of things down the bottom in the game tab, apply all that. It'll then ask you to confirm, and then it will ask you to reset. You've changed your resolution. There we go, keep changes, and then restart now. And you should be done. You should be good to go. That will restart the game. That will get you into performance mode, and you've reset all your caches, and that should rule out a lot of potential issues And if you're still getting crashes, then it's typically either your CPU, memory, or GPU are unstable, whether that's due to temperatures, whether that's due to overclocking, whether that's due to something physically wrong with the hardware. They're the three main ones, or it's Fortnite game code. And then you just have to complain to Epic repeatedly to get them to fix it. That's all you can really do. Right, so that's it. I wanted to keep this video short. I'm going to be doing another stream in a minute for some gameplay, but I wanted to go over all those two scripts that I put on my website, how to use them, what they do, and how they potentially can stabilize your system. But you should be good after that. So any questions, jump on my Discord, ask them in the general chat, and I'll be happy to answer them, okay? But yeah, so these two, free scripts on my website. All you'd have to do is run them from a command line, and you can run them from anywhere, and they've helped out a lot of people so far, so hopefully they can help you guys out too.